Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by Chevy Silverado.
Chevy Silverado tech tip of the week this week. Jarod Higginbotham. We're going to talk about the 2.0, the 2.5, the rooster tail. Just to give you a little insight on how, well, the guy that's right in the middle of this stuff actually uses them when he's out there chasing fish around. Okay, so like I mentioned just a little bit ago, 2.0, 2.5, obviously very well known for chasing trout around. Yeah. You mentioned that they do catch other fish. Colors, though. When we're looking at this, when you're talking about trout, you know, we have specific colors that we like for salmon and steelhead. For trout, though, does that change a lot?
You know, for me, I'm pretty consistent with like the ones I've laid out here. Metallic gold flame, which is this one right here, is actually one of my killers in every fishery. Okay. Just metallic gold black bill, and then I got the NFL, which is, you know, your chrome and reds, which are killer for trout, and then the killer frog, the bleeding frog. Okay. You know, those are pretty much my 4 go-tos in any fishery. I will throw a flow red one in there on occasion, but these are the ones I put out, and this is what we do most of the damage with. That's whether I'm in a drift boat with Uncle Willie somewhere, back trolling them, which is fishing for steelhead miniature, which is so fun. Right. And then, you know, if I'm in a lake, I like to long line. I mean, we were talking earlier about line, right? And so my braided line on mine is 15-pound braided line, which is about thread. Yeah, it's like the diameter 4-pound test. I got them on 2 to 6 pound, you know, 7.5 foot trout rods with 1,000 series spinning reels. So it's real light, and so the takedowns are very violent. It's fun. Right. And if you troll them like in a big lake, especially with their planters, what I like to do is I like to put them about 100, 125 feet behind the boat. Okay. You know, it's only going to dive 7 to 10 feet between these two. As long as you keep that light dive that deep? Yeah. Okay. So the small one, the 2.0, will probably dive 5 to 8. The 2.5, you're looking at that 7 to 10. 3.0, you're looking at about 8 to 14. 3.5. The 3.5 will actually dive all the way past 20 feet if you let out enough line with the right diameter. But so these things will get down and dive for you. But most of those trout, they feed like, you know, up on that surface anyway. Sure. And so with that 125 feet of line out, you know, a lot of people just, they troll straight, they keep going the same speed. And what I like to do is I really like to do big S-turns. And so you have so much lead behind you as you're doing that S-turn, the plug doesn't really follow you. It goes over the water that you're turning around, right? And so there's a lot of undisturbed water when you make those big S-turns, and that's where I pick up those fish with those long lead backs. With these small plugs, is speed an issue? Are you trying to keep the speed down? Can you ramp it up to 2.5? You can, yeah. So the smaller mag lip, as you can see, they don't come with a belly treble like the 3.0 and up, right? And so they're not as speed tolerant. The 3.0 and up will go to 4 miles per hour, but through the 2.0 and 2.5, they go to 3 miles per hour, which for a trout, that's pretty fast anyway. That's ripping. Yeah, and that's pretty fast anyway. And so I like to keep them at that 1.25 to 2.25, but you know, let the trout tell you what they want. Let the fish tell you what they want, because sometimes that speed is just the difference, and those turns help you dictate that. Now, if I'm turning, you know, if I'm turning this way, you know, and my inside rods are going to slow down, right? My outside rods are going to speed up. And so as I'm doing those S-turns, if my outside rods are getting bit more often than my inside rods, then I'm going to speed up my troll, because that lets me know that they want the faster presentation. If my inside rods are getting bit more often than my outside rods, then I'm going to slow down my troll, because that's the presentation they want. So, you know, pay attention to your gear and what it's telling you. Like I tell everybody, these plugs in your rod is a data system for your brain. Sure. It's telling you what you need to know. Am I catching fish? Am I not catching fish? Right. So pay attention to your data system. Okay, makes sense. 100%. I mean, the best fish finder you've got is on the end of your rod, right? I mean, it's one of those things. That's right. Now, Bill, before we even started this segment, I was talking about these little tiny rooster tails, and you had mentioned if you remember last year, was it last year or the year before when you were ripping all those?
All those surf perch.
Yeah, surf perch while you were
outside in the ocean. Yeah.
And you
had to stop what I was doing. We were catching them on anchovies. We didn't have a single salmon on the boat because it was kind of a slow morning. It was the weirdest darn thing. I was like, and then all of a sudden we get into this group of surf perch. They're blowing at the surface. And I changed my whole tactics for that day. We didn't kill a salmon that day, but I ran out of anchovies because the surf perch were killing them.
I can't believe
I started rummaging through my tackle box, and I found rooster tails. Right. And I was like, screw it, I started unclipping everything. We just started tossing them and rearing them on the surface, and they were everywhere. They're universal, we killed 30 of them. Right. It was the coolest thing.
So both of these, right? The rooster tail and the mag lip 2.0, 2.5.
They do it all.
They catch more than just trout.
Oh yeah, for sure. Right. I mean, the rooster tail, we've logged, I think, 97 species that the rooster tail has caught, different species across the world, right? Wow. And I think it's 97. It's probably more than that by now, but they catch everything, man. I mean, and I've been fishing them since I was a little kid, you know, since I was like 5 years old. Sure. And everything from creeks and streams to lakes and rivers. you know, they're phenomenal. I used to ride my horse up in the middle of nowhere chasing cattle, and we'd take this black rooster tail on one of those telescoping rods. I was little at one point in time. It wasn't
I was little. I was riding I was a young kid at one time.
And Budweiser we literally cast off the back of the horse and catch fish in these pools when we were up there in the middle of the mountains. It was fun. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be fun all by itself. Being on a horse, sure, doing all that would be awesome.
I rode my horse to school.
Trolling, casting, both very versatile for that. And again, I mentioned that a little bit ago that I've gotten a lot of questions about casting these little plugs. A little bit of weight in front of them, maybe a small leader where you can cast them and retrieve them.
You can do that. It's not,
shot
split shot. And if not, and you just want to cast the plug by itself, then you know, it's best to use like a longer spinning rod, like, you know, something in that steelhead range, like 8.5 to 9.5 foot, but still stay with that light line, 15 to 20 pound test, and spinning is by far the way to go.
15, 20 pound braided line.
Right. Yeah, because that's a diameter like, you know, 4 to 6 pound test.
Right.
And so that gives you that light line and less friction, and that longer rod gives you the whip you need to really cast those out. And it works great.
Yeah, very versatile. And again, we were talking with Bill prior to the segment starting. I was using these Plunking for perch just off the beach, right? You know, just the old school way that we'd go after perch and have very good success with them, either with or without the blade, believe it or not. It's kind of an interesting way that goes. Part of this deal, though, the buy 3 get 1 free is also buy 12 get 4 free of the Corkies.
Corkies.
Now we're talking about trout fishing, and there's ways that you can use Corkies to be very effective plunking with power bait when you're talking about chasing trout around. So don't overlook getting a whole bunch of little tiny spin glows, chartreuse, oranges, pinks, whatever it is that will help float your bait up and change that profile where you can be more successul plunking, which is my favorite way, honestly, to go after them.
Some of my best friends
it's
power bait.
And you know, the Corky, the great way to add the Corky is, and remember this, is we make Corkies in size 12s and 14s, right? Those are the trout sizes.
And little tiny guys.
Little tiny guys. And a size 12 Corky with a size 12 treble is your perfect setup for plunking for trout.
Gotcha.
So, you know, you've got an egg weight, and you come down to a swivel, and you got however much leader you would need with a size 12 Corky and a size 12 treble, or a size 14 Corky and a 14 treble.
Okay.
And what that does is that allows, if you don't have enough power bait to say float it up off the bottom, the Corky will do that. Plus, it also helps push through weeds and stuff like that.
Sure.
And a lot of people ask me about leader length when I'm doing that. Well, my leader length is dictated when I get to the lake or place I'm fishing, because if I've got a foot of grass in the bottom of it, then I need probably, you know, a 2-foot leader.
Sure.
Right? Or, you know, vice versa. If it's shorter, I want it shorter to the bottom because they're generally cruising. And so your leader length is going to vary, but that Corky does help that presentation get up and where those cruising fish can find it.
Yeah, I actually learned that from Cody 100 years ago using that Corky in front.
Let's not forget our Corkies.
Cody Herman?
He's
such a nice guy. Hi, Cody.
Cody, I hope you're watching.
I hope you're watching, buddy.
Check out the hat, too, by the way.
Yeah.
That was an easy plug.
I'm representing.
There you go.
Don't forget Corkies in Oregon City.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, the only ones that we want are
those Corky guys.
The big black ones.
They sell out like crazy, and they might be in stock.
I don't even want to ask Jarod the question about spin glows, because no matter when we get him in here, the first phone call we get is, where's all the spin glows? Well, first off, spin glows are handmade. That you sell millions, literally, of them. So they get made, and then they get sold. So when you find the ones that you want, you need to buy them.
Trust me, we make them as fast as people order them, and we want them to get out there. I want everybody fishing our gear, right? And
well,
so
of course.
We ship them as fast as we can. Like you said, they take 10 days to make one. You know, they're all hand sawed. The wings are hand inserted. You know, they're hand painted. So it's a process.
Okay, over the years, this has been for several years, this has been a thing, right? There's no way around that.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that don't even think that that's true. That are like, they're all handmade, or not handmade, that they're all machine made, and they just spit out
machine that's going to put these all together.
They're made from dust. They come literally from dust, and we take them from dust to the finished product. And it's a long step. We did what we call the spaghetti mapping thing. It was a thing for lean manufacturing. We were learning about our manufacturing process to try to make it better.
Sure.
To make one spin and glow took one person 7,000 steps.
Does that seem excessive to you?
Yeah, wings, body.
But you know, by the time it goes from this department to this department to this department to this department to this department, back to packaging to shipping, it was 7,000 steps.
Wow.
We actually had a little roller thing that because we were testing all this stuff to try to, you know, make it
faster.
So we can make it faster, exactly, for this exact issue.
Well, from all of us, don't change a thing.
No, nothing will change.
Please don't change anything.
They're not changing.
Because they are phenomenal. But like you mentioned, you just buy a bunch when you get them, when you find the ones that you want. Same thing when you're talking about the 2.0 and the 2.5 mag lip. Get the ones that you want when you find them. Don't be upset when they're not there and you go back 2, 3, 4 weeks later, because things just get sold. It's just not that easy to keep it all loaded up in stock, although a lot of folks just don't simply understand that. Okay. Let's cut to a break. When we come back, I want to save a little bit of time. We're going to head back up to the jam up here. We're going to talk a little bit of spring Chinook fishing, maybe what Jarod's going to be doing going forward as well. I might even want to dive into why in the world is he driving a couple thousand miles to go chase the salmon.
They have great cheese.
Talk 'em about.
He just said they have great cheese.
It's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I mean,
right?
It's Wisconsin.
I've had bad luck with folks from. I'm just teasing. Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. You know who you are. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue with more Outdoor GPS that you'll only see here on KPDX. We'll be right back.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. And by Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective.